Chairman Peter Young, before me, started a Mackay Watch program, which was similar to like a neighborhood watch, where people in a neighborhood work with the police and they try to gather information so that if the police come, you know, even if somebody has left the scene, the people who are there have information that can allow us to follow up with an investigation. So there is a Mackay Watch program for Maunalua, and I think Representative Berg mentioned that Malama Maunalua had come here to do a meeting. I did bring a flyer that has the contact information for Malama Maunalua. And then the different Mackay Watch programs have been working with a number of non-government organizations, nonprofit organizations in partnership with us to develop training for the Mackay Watch community members. And so we do have a training booklet. I brought copies of that tonight as well. A lot of the information in this booklet is around the resource protection. And thanks to a lot of the community efforts in Maunalua, NOAA has provided a stimulus grant to move forward with a lot of that resource protection, and that's going to provide some administrative support. So I'm hopeful that more people who are here tonight are going to want to join in with this Mackay Watch and help us strengthen the voluntary compliance and safety component, because we do need some help from people on scene, because I think the reality is there are so many different uses. There's such a high volume of uses in this bay that we kind of need a whole community effort to say we need to change the tone of the bay. People need to take more care for each other. It's too crowded for us to behave the way that we did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And we need to find ways that we can keep each other safe, that we can respect each other's needs for using the bay and desire to use the bay, and make sure that people are using the area responsibly. We've sat down with the non-profit organizations that have helped us by creating this booklet, and they help provide support and technical support to these community groups. We've had our DoCare officers work with training the community groups, but we realize a puka that we need to fill right now. We need to have better training about what information do we need Mackay Watch people to collect, so that when you call us to come and respond to a violation, again, even if the violator is gone, that the Mackay Watch people can have information for us to be able to follow up with an investigation. So we need to come up with better training materials and better training for Mackay Watch members on how to be more effective eyes and ears. So for example, we may get a call, there's another Mackay Watch on Oahu out in Pupukea that I was out with the other day, and they're calling about a violation for a boat, but they're not collecting the boat numbers, the registration numbers. So when we get out there, the boat's gone, there's nothing for us to follow up on. And so we want to work with the community groups so that we can start to be more effective at that, gathering that kind of information, and more effective eyes and ears. I should caution you that when we do work with Mackay Watch folks, we want it to be voluntary compliance. We don't want volunteers going up and confronting other people, because sometimes that can get ugly, and we don't want people to put themselves in an unsafe situation. But that's all part of the training. And so I hope the people that do want to get more actively involved in this area, please get one of the flyers and talk to Alyssa. And then we can bring a DoCare officer out to do an updated training. And then Ed Underwood can talk a little bit more about the rules and regulations that are in place now. And then we're going to want to hear from you about the specific issues and concerns that you have, so we can see whether we need to massage any of those. So, thank you.
Please welcome Ed Underwood.
Thank you, Representative. Hello, everyone. Laura and Captain Campagnoni covered the overall Coast Guard, DLNR responsibilities of the bay well, and I can get in on the specifics. I was one of the jet ski operators out in the bay when the rules first went into effect, so I know these rules pretty well. Basically, when it comes down to vessel operation, operating a vessel on the water, the state defers to the United States Coast Guard rules of the road. So we mirror the same carriage requirements on the boats, same type of passing requirements, operations in channels, die flag regulations, and all of that. Regarding the bay itself, Maunalua Bay, back in the mid 80s, late 80s, a study was done and 10 ocean recreation management areas were created around the state. And Maunalua Bay falls in the South Oahu Ocean Recreation Management Area. And you folks are probably well aware of the things that are going on in the bay now. Those rules at the time primarily dealt with jet ski operations, throwcraft, parasail operations, and what we call water sledding, was when you tow the tube behind the boat like the big banana or the round tubes. In the bay now, there's 3 available throwcraft permits or jet ski permits in the bay. You see 2 operators now on the right-hand side of the channel. We have not let out the 3rd jet ski permit at this time, primarily because of the skis that are being used now are really big. They're not those small skis that were used previously, and they need more room. So the existing operators, to be safe, have expanded their courses a little bit. So it takes up basically the same areas as 3 operators would. So we've chosen not to let the 3rd jet ski permit out. The water sledding permit is if you're heading out of the channel, it's on the left-hand side of the channel where you see the boats mooring. That permit's been there for many years. It was operated once long ago. It was turned back into the state, and it has never been put back out again. And we have no intention on doing that at this time. Outside of the bay, or just inside, and as you head out of the bay, is the 2 parasailing permits that you see out there. So they can have, each parasail permit is allowed to have 1 boat with 1 chute aloft at any one time. So the most you should ever see out there are 2 boats and 2 chutes, because that's all that's permitted for that area. There's the recreational riding areas out on the outside of the bay close from December 15th to May 15th. So you shouldn't see any jet ski operations for recreational use on the inner waters. What I did is these rules are on the table, and it comes with exhibits on the back, and it shows you exactly where the operating areas are. So it's kind of hard to explain it when it's out there, but there are rules in place. And what the rule does say for the ocean recreation management areas is, if it's not specifically regulated or prohibited in the rule, then it's deemed okay. So we know as we go forward, and that there's more and more use. We now have the kite surfing, we have the windsurfing, we have the stand-up paddleboard issues now, a big deal. So we do have a tool or a mechanism in order to address user conflicts in the bay. It's just we need to hear the information from the community on how best to address that.